Well, I found a poem I'd like to read about winter solstice by Greta Crosby. And I chose a picture that just was irresistible for me for winter. We don't have this kind of winter today, thank goodness, but it is beautiful when we do have it and we don't have to get anywhere. Drive anywhere, isn't it wonderful to have that kind of beauty? Let us not wish away the winter. It is a season in itself, not simply the way to spring. When trees rest, growing no leaves, gathering no light, they let in the sky and trace themselves delicately against the dawns and sunsets. The clarity and brilliance of the winter sky delight. The loom of fog softens edges, lulls the eyes and ears of the quiet, awakens by risk the unquiet. A slow, dark sky can snow, emblem of individuality, liberality, and aggregate power. Snow invites to contemplation and to sport. Winter is a table set with ice and starlight. Winter dark tends to warm light, fire and candle. Winter cold tends to hugs and huddles. Winter want to gifts and sharing. Winter danger to visions, plans, and common endeavoring. And the zest of narrow escapes. Winter tedium to merrymaking. Let us therefore praise winter, rich in beauty, challenge, and pregnant negativities. The winter time is filled with emptiness, And in that emptiness is expectation. Have you noticed the squirrels aren't jumping around right now? The chipmunks you see aren't there. They're all pausing. The deer are still out, but those squirrels that we see all year round just are gone. They're all pausing. They've created a silence in the woods around us by not being there. And those naked trees are amazing against the Carolina blue sky. The delicate branches that are now all isolated against that sky is just the most beautiful. For me, maybe even more beautiful when they're filled with leaves. And then that sparkling blackness of night with the stars and Orion coming up. Probably the only constellation most of us know how to find. And we see it in the winter. I know that one. And those stars are just amazing. The dark clarity of the night of winter. See, it seems dead, but within each element of nature, there is such beauty. There is such expansiveness, and there is such possibility, because we know that from our experience of all the years we've been on this planet, the spring does come back. So this is not time to be mournful and grieving and afraid. It's a time of knowing deep down that everything's going to be all right and spring will come back. It's a time of pause. As we say in a poetic way, the sun has dipped down and is coming back up. We know scientifically we are the ones who have turned away, sort of. We turn away from the sun every night. But our hemisphere, the northern hemisphere, is at its most farthest tilt away from the sun right now. And we'll move and we'll face the sun again more directly in the summer. We know that. And we are a part of all of that. We're a part of that order. Then why is it that when changes happen in our lives and things seem to go wrong, we panic, not remembering that they will get better, however different it might look? So it's our chance to watch the sun and the sky and remember the truth about life. Although the world seems empty of life right now in nature, we know that it's there. The squirrels are still there. They didn't all migrate to Florida. And even the birds that aren't here will come back. The hummingbirds will be back at our feeders in the summer every year. So we know, and we can allow that emptiness to be and not see it as something bad. Because we know with emptiness comes expectation. We need those times, emotionally and spiritually, when we, like the tree, become bare and let go of all of our coverings and be raw and pause. We need that time to clean, like cleaning out the clutter of a closet, allowing the new to come in. We can't hide when we're naked like a tree. Can't hide a thing. You can see all the bumps on the tree. You can see all the different edges, and everything is so well defined. So if we are emotionally naked or spiritually raw, we can't hide. It shows. It shows up in our own awareness. So pushing it away is not all that helpful. Taking a look at it and allowing you to just be who you are is a really healthy thing to do at this time. You can't hide it from yourself or from God. Why try? Allow wisdom to come from rawness and nakedness. Know that life is pulsing underneath all of that. Winter is a time of chaos, crazy storms that produce stuff like that. And remember that that didn't happen. It may have happened in a very silent snow. It may have happened in a crazy wind and chaos. And after the chaos, a dawn of a low sun in the winter sky brings that amazing peace. I can tell that that happened in chaos. Can you? Sides of the trees are covered with snow. That was not a gentle snowfall. And the trees stood and handled all the wind and blustery blackout conditions. They stood. And they knew it would come to an end. And there is the peace. Sometimes you need to go through the chaos to find the peace. The strategic thing for us to do spiritually is to find the peace in the midst of the storm. How? Anchor. How could the trees survive that? Totally anchored. Totally anchored. Be a tree. Be strongly anchored. In the midst of the storm, you can stand. How do we find peace? We surely don't find it outside of ourselves. We find it within. There's a message on the wall at Silent Unity in Unity Village, that is it, where as a prayer associate I had a shift where I would have a half an hour to go into the prayer room and hold the vigil. And that prayer room was never empty. Someone was always holding the vigil, so that whenever someone called in to Silent Unity, when you do, you'll hear the associates say, now we'll hold your name in prayer for 30 days. That name physically goes into that prayer room where this is painted on the wall. And it is a silent room where prayer associates and others who are ordained ministers can go in and hold that vigil. They may not see your name, but they are holding that prayer for you. And they're holding that prayer for themselves. This prayer doesn't come from some outside force. This is a reminder of be still. Be still. That brain that just keeps chattering away. Be still. Peace. It doesn't come from outside. It comes from within. Boy, when I was a child, I heard all those Bible stories, and I heard Jesus said, peace, be still, and the waves and the winds obeyed him. And I thought, I took it so literally, which is no fault of my own. Everybody else who was teaching me was taking it literally too. That I had to get Jesus to make everything get still for me. I had to ask Jesus to give me peace. Those simple prayers of, oh God, bring me peace. I felt so freed when I learned that peace was in me. Although it took some responsibility onto me, I had to take responsibility. No longer could I say, oh God, give me peace. No longer did that make sense because I had got it. I got it. That it's always available to me. Do I always remember that? Nope. Ask any of my close friends. But then they gently remind me, you've got everything you need right here. Right here. Your body is filled with divine power. Use it. Remember, peace is within you. So I give you that today. It's something that we need to be reminded of so many times. And it can happen while you're working at Toys R Us this afternoon. Peace is always available to me. Peace is always available to us. Can you do that? Can you breathe? Can you be like the tree with your roots deep, deep, deep into the soil of truth? Peace is always available to us. Solstice is a time of pause. Pause knowing everything's all right. And that the new that comes may not look like it used to look, but it can be okay. The possibilities. We have no control, we have no way to predict, and we have no way to be all wise about what the next phase of life is. And if we try to control it, it won't do much good anyway. This solstice, that dark and light, that's what we play with at Christmas time. Look at all the candles and imagine how many will be glowing in here on Tuesday night. It's all about the play of darkness and light. It's all about the birthing of this awareness of our Christ consciousness, that we can shine that light into those dark corners and shed some amazing wisdom on them, the wisdom that we have within us. The contrast of dark and light is like sadness and joy, despair and hope, chaos and peace. Each one of our Advent candles represents that positive, but each one of them without it can represent the opposite. Did you hear that? Joy and despair or sadness. Hope and hopelessness or despair. Chaos and peace. Love, hate, and turmoil. All of them show we choose the light. So I invite you to connect with your inner wisdom, even in a time of uncertainty. And remember, God is good all the time. I said that and I thought of Hawaii. Sky St. John is a minister in Hawaii who died in a water accident this week. Totally, he wasn't sick, so no one was ready for this. If you were at the Kanuga retreat in 2012, you experienced Sky's delightful energy. He has been a Unity minister that has touched many, many people's lives all over the country. Diane mentioned that she got to know him at a retreat in the Midwest. He was here. He's been in every subregion. He's been teaching ministers in his church in Hawaii. Many of my friends, several, have gone there for internships. He had just recently, about a year ago, become the Unity representative to the Pacific Rim. He wanted to see unity popping up all around the Pacific Rim, and that was his vision. And if anybody could make that happen, Sky St. John could make that happen. At 65, he washed up on shore, and the paramedics estimated him to be 40 to 50 years old. He was in great shape. So we have no idea what happened. But I remember him saying, and several Unity ministers say this, God is good all the time. And his people, he'd say, God is good. They'd answer all the time. So I know that that's what they're doing today. The Unity of Hawaii at Diamond Head is saying God is good all the time in the midst of their grief and shock, in the midst of their solstice. They're saying God is good all the time. Can we embrace that? I ask you to think about that phrase over this week. As you hold Chad in love and all the others that are on your hearts, as well as yourself and what you're going through in this Christmas time, God is good all the time. What does that mean? If we don't say God is an outside force, that means the presence and power of this universe is good all the time, in spite of what things appear to be. Embrace that. That's where your peace will come. That's where your peace will come. So our work is to let go of the fear and to embrace the possibility and know that all is well. I hold you in the light. Namaste.